Well, good morning, everyone. Glenn Daniels, Director of Operations at Touchstone Publishers. Trying something new today. Did it last Sunday, but didn't go live with it. Just practiced it. Got a few things up. I'm going to call this series Walk and Talk for Leaders. We try to open up and have some discussions because our leadership skills, they all revolve around a couple small things. Three things, actually, three pillars. Communication is at the very top rung, most important. Leadership intelligence and leadership skills. So leadership intelligence applies to things like the emotional intelligence, your IQ, applies to your knowledge of learning. That's the intelligence, the things you need to learn and know. And so you have an idea of how you lead people. Leadership skills comes back to understanding, like, well, what's the best way to do a daily checklist? Or what's the best way to hold people accountable? Or what's the best way to increase productivity or to handle change? That's what leadership intelligence is. I'm sorry, leadership skills. That's what that is. The skills to handle the things you need to handle. By the way, it's a lot cooler than what it was last week at this time. A lot cooler, but no snow on the ground. But I don't think we're getting the sun today. Pure gray skies. And then communication. The reason why we have communication at the very top is it is your communication skills that tie this all together. If you're a great communicator and don't have the other two, you still have a great chance of being a good leader. But if you can put all three pillars together, then you have a chance to become an excellent leader, the best. So let's focus a little bit today on the skills, leadership skills. We'll focus on that. We'll walk and talk for a while. Hopefully we won't get too far out of breath. But we're going to have a good time. Every now and then I'll just stop talking as we pass by people, give you an idea of what's going on around. Get into, by the way, Park Hill, Denver, Colorado is one of the most beautiful areas in the city. We're kind of deep in the heart of that. Kind of hard to see with the camera this way, and I don't know how easy it is to flip the camera around. We're not going to even try that today, but we can do like this, I guess. It's a good idea of where we are. So what's going on behind me a little bit. This is just a housing neighborhood, busy street out here. Monocle Parkway used to be. If you lived on this street, you're considered one of the rich. Well, that's changed quite a bit. They've built quite a few more luxury streets in this now. We have some great looking houses here. We used to call these houses elf houses. You lived in one of these houses, you were an elf. Let me see if I can show you this one right here. I'm not sure how to get you to see that view. There it is, a little bit off my shoulder there. An elf type of house. All up and down the street. Across the street from me there. Oh, we'll figure this camera out so you get a good angle on all this stuff here. Maybe I gotta do it like this. Okay, well, you'll just walk and talk and you can see some things coming off my shoulder. Don't know whether it's best to talk to you face to face or allow you to see things that are behind me where I'm walking up on. Real pretty dog going a little crazy there. No, let's just refresh button. Okay, let's just keep on walking. We won't worry about flipping the camera around this day. Let's do it like that. There we go. We'll do it like that. Okay, so there you go. There, now you get a good view of the elfin houses. Okay, so today we're going to talk about leadership skills. And the one skill we want to discuss as we walk here for a little while. By the way, I'm going to try to walk for about 2 hours today. I'm not going to talk for 2 hours though, because leadership skills is a technique. It's something you have to practice on. Something you're only going to get good at by practicing and doing it. You're not going to get good at it by me lecturing you about it. You have to take some of these exercises that I try to give you and practice them. So we're for sure not going to talk 2 hours, probably not going to talk for more than 30 minutes. Let's talk about the leadership skill. The skill we're going to talk about, I decided to start with, is SWOT. How many of you are doing SWOT analysis for your job right now? Situational analysis to kind of decide what's the strength of the project, weakness of the project, the opportunity should the project be done, and the threat to the successful completion of the project. I want to take this formula and put it into your counseling sessions. Now, you have two types of coaching sessions. We'll call number one coaching, development. When you're going to work with your employee to develop them and make them better at their job, help them get the next job, help them get the full pay raise that might be coming their way. That's your coaching session or your development session. Your counseling sessions. Those are the sessions where you're going to help that employee become a better corporate employee. Or maybe inform that employee that they don't belong with this organization any longer because of their job performance. Or you're going to help that employee understand they got to get to work on time or something of that nature. So it's not a pleasant conversation most of the time. Your job is to make it a pleasant conversation and get the results that you want. So there's some framework you have to start out with. The one big piece of framework that you have to start out with is your understanding of this one simple fact. It is your understanding of this. Everyone has positive intent. Everyone you speak with, no matter what the situation is, they have positive intent, and you would like to kind of discover what that positive intent is. Now, keep it in mind, they have positive intent that may not be meant for you or for the company. They have positive intent for that for some reason. Let me give you an example. This gentleman is coming to work late every day. Well, not every day. Let's say he comes to work late every Friday. And it just is becoming a problem. His team's having to cover for him. It's becoming a problem. So you have to kind of figure out why. What's his intent? And he has a positive intent for it. Now, like I said, it may not be intended for you or for the company, but he may have positive intent saying, this is the only night of the week I get to spend time with my wife, my girlfriend. So I'm going to go out with them, and we're going to drink and have a good time. That's positive intent to have a better relationship. Positive intent also could be to avoid pain. Maybe he's going out and drinking too much to avoid pain. Maybe his positive intent is the only time he feels alive, feels good about himself, is when he is out drinking. So he has positive intent. Now, it also could be real simple. The lady is coming to work, and she's just not performing on her job. She's just not getting the job done. And so she starts to withdraw from doing the job. Maybe her positive intent is to do the best job she can, but not to get in trouble. She doesn't want to have these lectures or conversations come at her about how she's doing the job wrong, because all she wants to do is stay out of trouble so she doesn't stretch out and try to do new things and do better things and be a better employee. Her positive intent is to protect her feelings from being hurt. That's positive intent. So we have to kind of keep that in mind when we're working with people. You have to start to discover what the positive intent is. Now, when we teach this in lectures, oftentimes there's one or two people will say they don't have any positive intent. Their positive intents just to get away from work. Well, as soon as I hear that, I realize how weak that particular leader is. You have to stretch your mind. You have to start thinking a little bit more and really try to start to develop the thought that this person has positive intent for the behavior. We need to understand what the positive intent is. That's your mission. What is their positive intent? That one of these blind corners here where you can't see cars coming. Almost walked out here just a second ago. Almost just got picked off. But one of these corners is always fun. So we'll wait for the light to go, and you can walk across it. By the way, this is 17th Avenue in Monaco. Again, very beautiful, luxurious neighborhood. Try and get you to see some. Look down here. See if I can figure this out. Well, I can't really figure it out. There you go. But it's not really green today because of all the gray clouds. But the street's full tree line. People out doing exercise, scaring me to death. They go running. Let's see if we can get her running here. I don't know how to use this right. Okay, as far as look at that. Let's keep going. So we got to look and study and figure out what their positive intent is. Okay? Go deep. Go try to take the shortcut. Don't be arrogant as a leader. Okay? Everybody has positive intent. And again, that intent may not be to serve you. It may not be there to serve the company, but they have positive intent. Most of the time, however, Most of the time, in the business environment, that person is not making a mistake to punish people or hurt people. Most of the time, that person is making the mistake because their intent was to try to do the job right. They just didn't do the job right. Most of them they make that mistake because they didn't learn better. You didn't show them better. You didn't hold them accountable. Most of the time, positive intent relies on you, but it's still your job to discover what that positive intent is and to get that working. Every now and then I got to remind myself to keep my pace up. I have a time to get through all this done too anyway. I can't just slow down and stop and talk like I want to. Walk and talk is what it's called. All right, so you want to make sure that you have this frame of mind that you're going into this conversation with a positive intent. Second thing you want to have in your mind is how you want the outcome to be. Begin with the end in mind. Why are you doing this? How do you want it to settle out? Begin with the end in mind. How do you want this to settle out? Oftentimes, the end in mind might be to show improvement, to get this person to see and improve what they want to do and how they're going to get it done. That oftentimes, more than not, is the way it's got to go. Okay. So, begin with the end in mind. How do you want this conversation to come out? You want this person to accept responsibilities for their failures or the lack of action? You want to understand why they're doing what they did? You want to have positive intent. You want to understand the positive intent, and you want to have a positive outcome. Now, I'm just giving you a high-level positive outcome, but you got to go a little bit deeper. Depending on the situation, positive outcome is going to be different. Positive outcome might be that person starts coming to work on time. Positive outcome might be that person starts turning their work in on time. Positive outcome might be that the person stops being mean and rude to other people, cutting them off as they talk. Positive intent, positive outcome. What is it? How do you want this to come out? And the third preamble type of question is, why do we need to have this conversation anyway? Now, the reason why that's third, that helps you set up the whole thing. Why do we need this conversation anyway? Well, we need this conversation. We'll start off with an easy one. We need this conversation because this person's coming to work late. 2 out of 5 days they're here late, and they're expected to be here on time. 2 out of 5 days a week. Okay, so that's why we're having the conversation. We don't know what the positive intent is. We think we know, but we don't know until they tell us. And they may not tell us. They may not feel a need to tell you. They may just feel a need to go ahead and get it accomplished. If you have that in the back of your mind that they have a positive intent, you'll approach the conversation differently. How do you want this to come out? Want this person to start to come to work on time 5 days a week, like everybody else. So let's go through the SWOT. Your strength, W is the weakness, O is the opportunity, and T is the threat. Okay? The strength, the weakness, the opportunity, and the threat. Here's how it gets applied. S, the strength. Now, let me pre-frame this just a little bit for you. We're not going to let me tell you one good thing, and tell you what's wrong, and tell you another good thing. You are a leader. You don't have time to listen to that impact. One thing you have time to do is get it settled. And when you try to listen to the impact, you oftentimes will find yourself in a situation where the person misses the point. Plus, the more time you fool around with getting to the meat of the matter, the more power you personally give away. Let's look at one of the busiest streets in Denver. The more time you're probably giving away, the more personal power you're giving away. You don't have a whole lot of time for this, so you just got to get after it. The strength, so just one strength. So maybe the strength is that this person gets along with everybody really well on the team. Jill, you really get along well with everybody on the team. But that's a strength. And I want to emphasize that to her. Let her know that I see that. Now I'm going to start talking for just a minute as we walk by a few people. We're waiting for the city bus, so we'll just stop talking for a minute. Okay, we're back. So, you want to tell Jill what her strength is. Must be real, though. If Jill doesn't really get along with people, you don't want to tell her, hey, I appreciate how you get along with people. Jill, your team respects you. Maybe they don't because she's been coming to work late. Jill, your projects are getting done really good. You're really knocking those out of the ballpark, and when they come in, I appreciate them. What is a real strength that you see in this employee that you're having this counseling conversation with? What is a real strength? And that's what you need to share. What is your real strength? One, and one only, ladies and gentlemen. We're not about interested in sharing a bunch of them. One and one only. That's all you need to share. W, the weakness. Get to the point. Don't sugarcoat this weakness. Just tell the point. Jill, my concern is that you're coming to work late 2 days out of the week. Okay? Don't justify it. Don't give a bunch of explanations. What the weakness is, you've been coming to work at least 2 times a week late. Maybe you can go at least 2 times a week late for the last 5 weeks or last 3 weeks. If you've let it go for 5 weeks, that's not good. Yeah, but maybe it's 2 weeks. Whatever the situation is, weakness, just tell it. Don't play games with it. Just tell it. Make it short, make it sweet, make it simple, make it non-emotional. Make it sure that Jill understands this is not a personal attack against her. This is just the fact. Make sure you do not put any personal grievances of your own. Make sure that you stick with the bottom line, the truth. Okay? Don't fudge the numbers, but just tell her what the weakness is and have her understand that's the weakness. Oh, the opportunity. Okay, tell Jill the opportunity should she fix this weakness. Jill, should you start coming to work on time, you're going to get the maximum pay raise. Or Jill, should you start coming to work on time, you will find everybody respects you more. By the way, this opportunity statement must be phrased in the language that they need to hear it in. And that's where the communication piece comes in. How does this person communicate? What is their major dominant personality type? Then you have to practice that and understand that. So the exercise, really, when we do the exercise in the classroom, is going to be framing this for each personality type. Okay, you got to frame it for the cheerleader, for the commander, okay, for the analytical person, for the loyalist. That opportunity has to be framed in that way, so they see that. Okay? So Jill, so let's say Jill's a cheerleader. Okay? So Jill, should you start coming to work on time, your team is going to start liking you a whole lot better. They're going to start trusting you and want to be around you more. That frames well for the cheerleader. For the commander, Jill, should you start coming to work on time, these people are going to respect you a lot more and follow your lead better. Okay? For the thinker or cogitator, Jill, should you start coming to work on time, the process will stay a lot smoother and we get things done faster and easier. Boom. For the loyalist, Jill, should you start coming to work on time, I think you'll find people care about you more and you'll be a better team player. Okay. This is critical to your success, is to understand how to frame the opportunity in the language they need to hear. This takes practice. This is why I said this won't be a 2-hour thing, because you got to sit down and start practicing these things. Hypothetical. And start practicing each one of these. Okay. But first thing you got to do is practice, since we're not going to be going through the personality types in this walk, First thing you got to practice is understanding the process, the S, the W, the O, and finally the T, the threat. The S, the W, the O, the T, the threat. You must let this person know what could possibly happen if they do not correct this problem. If they continue to come in late to work. Jill, should you not fix this and continue to come late to work, you're going to miss out on the next set of promotions. Jill, if you continue to come late to work these 2 days, you're going to put this company further and further behind and put the process further and further behind. Jill, should you continue to come to work late, you're going to lose the loyalty and the trust of your teammates because they're having to cover for you. The strength, the weakness, the opportunity to correct that weakness, and the threat. But here's where it diverges from the SWOT. There's a question you have to ask. It's a simple question. Jill, what can you do to fix this problem? What can you do to help this happen? What can you do to start coming to work on time every day? The question. I want you to hear me here. You're asking them how they're going to fix the problem. You're not telling them ever how they're going to fix the problem. If you don't agree with the solution, fine. Let them know why. You don't agree with the solution, and then ask them to give it to you again. That's short, that's sweet, that's simple. What's the solution to the problem? Hi. What's the solution to the problem? Have that person give you the problem. Have that person give you the solution. Here's the challenge of what's happening now. You as a leader, you want to tell them the solution. Jill, we need you to work on time every day. So what you need to do is probably leave 10 minutes earlier every day so you don't get caught in traffic. No, it doesn't work. Not in the high performance level. Let that person tell you. So avoid the temptation to talk. Ask the question and put one of the most powerful weapons you have at your favor, at your usage as a leader, as a communicator. Be silent. Ask the question and get silent. Do you see what happened just then when I got silent with you just for 30 seconds? You said, oh, I was almost down for the count. You said, what happened? Did he go down for the count? No, or what happened? Did it go wrong? There's a lot of pressure building up there. You've got to find a way to take care of that pressure yourself. We'll talk about ways to do that when we do talk about communication. But I'm going to caution you here. You ask that person for the solution to the problem, you be silent until they give you the solution. Now, they say to you, well, Glenn, I can't come to work any earlier. Can you just adjust my hours? Can you? Can you adjust their hours? If you can, okay. If you can't, Jill, that's not possible because we can't adjust everybody's hours, so we need you here at this time. It's critical for customer compliance. Okay. You must have a reason why. You must be fact-based. Okay, Jill, we can't adjust your hours because our customers expecting to be on the phone, or our customers expecting to have a level of service, or your teammates are requiring information from you at that time. What other solution might you come up with? Well, I really can't leave any earlier because I have kids. Now, you probably have just discovered that person's positive intent. Maybe they're not going to leave their kids earlier. Leave their kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays because they only have one car so they can get to work. Okay. Start to understand that fact. Now, but you have some place to work with. Because they gave you the real reason why they can't get there. They gave you what the positive intent is. Now you can step back and get some great answers going. So I can hurry across the street so I don't get killed here. Okay. So now you can step back and allow that person We'll work through the situation. Okay, Jill, you can't get here early. You can't get here on time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe we can switch shifts for you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or maybe you can carpool with somebody on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Jill, what other solutions do you think you can have to come up with this answer? Now, remember, you needed to ask open-ended questions, and you needed to ask this person to solve their problem. After all, you're getting to work on time yourself. Well, wait a minute. Are you? Are you setting that example of you being there? Do you take advantage of the fact that you have this title, this position, and you come to work when you want to, but you expect your team to be there on time? But you come whenever you want to? I know some managers sitting there saying, well, yeah, sometimes I get to come in late because I work late. Does your team know that you work late? Does your team see you take off for a 2-hour lunch break and they don't know how to get a hold of you? If you're setting poor examples, you're going to have poor responses. People are going to learn from your example. That's all part of leadership intelligence, but leadership skills. If you're going to hold people accountable, you hold yourself up to a higher level of accountability. You just flat out do. And this is so critical that you flat out hold yourself up to a much higher level of accountability, and you get there. So, once again, let me just verify a couple quick things with you. After going through the SWOT, you want to go ahead and sit down and say, listen, Jill, John, Bill, how do you suggest that you handle this situation? What's your best game plan to start coming to work on time? Listen to them. Allow them to give the answer. And then go from there. All right, so now let's do some skills. Let's do some practice. Now, I'm not there in your face right now, so I can't make sure you do this. But let's just walk through the whole thing. All righty. Gentleman comes to work on time, works hard, keeps his head down, tries to stay out of trouble. By the way, I just told you his personality type just right there. Can you just those little small statements told you his personality type. Yeah, that person right there is a loyalist. Okay? That person right there, they want to stay out of trouble, keep the head down, they get to work, and they work. That right there is your loyalist type of person. Because they don't want to cause any friction with people. Just as a side note, if you have a loyalist person, they don't want to cause any friction, so therefore they do not want to cause any conflict. So sometimes they'll fudge on the truth to avoid the conflicts. And this will happen in this type of coaching, counseling conversation. They'll fudge on that truth just a little bit to end the conflict. So, again, this person gets to work on time. They put the head down, they get to work. They work really hard all day long. And they work hard. From that alone, you can come up with a great strength. Now, when you get here to work, you work hard. You put your head down, you get to work. But let's say that person's weakness is that the work is not always correct. The work is not always correct. Immediately frame that work is not always correct to the simple fact the work is not always correct. No, sometimes, John, your work is just not coming back right. John, the opportunity here is, should you start getting that work to come back correctly, you start putting that work in right, you're ready for the next position in this company, which means a 10% pay raise for you, which means you're better able to take care of your family at home. You more than likely have touched on a major chord with that loyalist. They love their team, and you know they love their family. If I frame that opportunity to fix this weakness by saying you can be able to do better by your team, they're more likely to get involved with it. Now, the threat. Again, don't mince words here. Don't mince words with me. The threat is we have to have this work come in correctly because too many people are relying upon it. If we can't get it that way, we're going to have to give it to someone else. So, make that threat simple. John, the work has to come in correctly or we're going to have to give it to someone else to do. John, what's your best game plan to fix this? Ladies and gentlemen, silence. Silence. That's your best game plan. That's the best game plan. Let's just let silence roll here. Once we get that in shape, we're going to be in really good shape. You got to practice this. So make sure you sit down with a piece of paper and swat it out with the question. So SWOT with the question mark. They SWOT question mark. What's that person's strength? What's the weakness that they need to fix? What's the opportunity? What's the threat? SWOT with the question mark. Now, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, these counseling calls might mean termination. Termination must be nice, short, and sweet. So you don't really have time to soften the blow, but it doesn't still hurt. It does not hurt to go through the SWOT with that person as you release them from the position. Bill, you have a great personality. Weakness is that it doesn't seem to fit in what we need to have done here. The opportunity is that you probably can go out and work for a better company that better fits your skills. The threat, I'm going to leave it alone because the threat's already there. So the threat's done. Okay. Let that go. So we're going to have to let you go. So it's not a threat, it's a fact. Here is your final paycheck. Don't have these conversations with people unless you're fully prepared with HR and everything. Okay? Short, sweet, and simple. The more time you spend trying to protect their feelings, trying to make yourself feel better, the more painful it's going to become. So your challenge to practice this right now is to practice firing somebody. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and the fact is, we got to let you go. Here's your final paycheck. If they got questions or complaints, they're going to get to you. Make sure, though, at the time you're letting this happen, you still have that thought in your mind. What is that person's positive intent for the behavior that's so tight? Why didn't they hear me? We had a coaching call. Why didn't they hear me? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I still got a long ways to walk. So I'm really slowed down trying to walk and talk here. So, we've only been online for about 32 minutes. I guess I could keep online for another hour or so. But we'll do it again. We'll try to do this every weekend, Saturday or Sunday. Go live. And then, of course, it goes up on the website, Essential Leadership Skills. Essential Leadership Skills. So please go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Put a like in the channel for me, please. We're just building that channel. So I need your help. You may not want to subscribe, but if you can put a like in there, that will really help people start to see that we're out here and we're trying to make a difference. Because it's the leaders on this planet that make the difference. And as you know, this planet has been suffering a little bit, but it's the leaders. See, most of us spend most of our time with leaders on the job. Most of our time is on the job with our leaders. And it's up to that leader to make a difference. If I can help create leaders that can get out there, have people enjoy what they're doing, even though it's hard, they have to be productive. And even though that is not a vacation, even though sometimes they may not like you as a leader, but your organization is growing, your community is growing, your city is growing, your state's growing, your nation's growing, because you're being productive, you're making a difference. So once again, thank you very much for taking the time. My name is Glenn Daniels. I really enjoyed being with you. We'll talk to you on this format a little bit later on.